boots moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. 7, 6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today. 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Boots, 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 boots moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Don't look at what's in front of you. Boots, 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 moving up and down again. Men go mad with watching them.
I hope
There's
this
no
bothers you guys
discharge
as much as
in the
it does
war.
me. I'm gonna wait for everybody to roll in while I torture you with this.
Count the bullets in the bandoliers. If your eyes drop, they will get atop of you. Boots, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. We can stick out hunger, thirst, and weariness, but not the chronic sight of them. Boots, 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 moving up and down again.
This is
There's
what it
no
felt like if you had to
discharge in the
deal with this
war.
crap in the
Ain't
military,
so
and you
bad
can relate to
by
this
day
that I'm
because
playing
the
right
company,
now.
but
You
night
understand
brings
how
long,
mentally
brings
just
40,000
jacked up
million
this
boots,
situation was.
boots,
Oh yeah.
boots,
If you don't know what this is,
moving up and down again.
happy.
There's no discharge in the war. I have marched 6 weeks in hell and certify it is not
Good morning,
fire,
everybody.
devil's dark or anything but
Good morning.
boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Try to think of something different. Oh, my God, keep me from going lunatic. Boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. We're foot clogged.
if this song bothers you,
Over Africa. Foot,
consider yourself lucky that you haven't had to listen to this thing on loop for days on end. Just be happy about that. It will drive you literally insane. Oh my God. I'm muted? No, that's not correct.
5, 9 and 20 miles today. 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Boots.
This is how it felt to be a member of the United States military with common sense under all of these BS freaking like EO policies, everything else. We had to deal with this shit for way too long, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. It's gone.
Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war. Count the bullets in the bandoliers. If your eyes drop, they will get atop of you.
Boots.
Boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. We can stick out hunger, thirst, and weariness, but not the chronic sight of them. Boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Ain't so bad by day because the company, but night brings long strings of 40,000 million boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. I have marched 6 weeks in hell and certify it is not fire, devil's dark or anything but boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Try to think of something different. Oh, my God, keep me from going lunatic. Boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war.
Look at all you guys over there telling me to make it stop. Oh, you guys are fine. If you guys haven't heard that before, what is it? Robert Kipling? Boots, boots, boots. Go look it up. It's based off of a poem from World War One, and it was to do with the soldiers marching towards their death and everything else. It has been since used for, I think, purposes other than a poem, just to let people, I don't know, just it's not a poem to a lot of people in the world anymore. It's not. I promise you, it's not. And there's a lot of people. And think about it right now, this day, there's currently people walking around with their head down saying boots, boots, boots. I feel like that level of insanity is what the military's been putting up with for a very long time when it comes down to DEI and several other things. And we're going to get into all of the DEI amazingness here in just a little bit. I actually want to bring this up. This is what I'm talking about. This is the person on the thumbnail that's likely about to lose their job. So it's a very serious situation. I feel bad for them. It sucks. They're about to lose their job. But this is what the military turned into. We had a very long discussion yesterday on Twitter about this. Now, Trump signed the executive order. It's done. It is done. They're going to be going over, looking over policies, DEI, all of that. It's gone. And there's a fact sheet that they put out as well. And I'm going to be going over that fact sheet with you in case you have questions about anything that's been forward. But first, we're going to just go over what military training has been like under the Biden administration.
Of inclusion across all groups in the military. Come back tomorrow morning for the first 10 minutes and then run away. I'm going to focus a little bit more today on my story and that of transgender service members and how and why that fits into the picture of why inclusion matters. Why does it matter to us as a military? Why is it not a negative that some people may believe it to be? And how do we as leaders use it to enhance mission accomplishment?
Good question.
But I want to start here. This was less than 2 years ago, 2 days after a 10-hour surgery that opened me up from here to here and washed out all my insides with chemotherapy after removing several organs. I was terrified. This was, as I said, this was 2 days later, and I was still terrified. Not that I was going to die, which was certainly a consideration before the surgery, but that I'd never put the uniform back on again. All of us come into the service knowing there will be a day we take the uniform off for the final time. We hope that it is on our terms. In many cases, it's not. That is the cost of service. But we want to get to that day where it is our...
Is that at the freaking Air Force Academy? No, that's what it looks like, doesn't it? Come on now. No, that can't be. Is Sanford and McDonnell, anybody in the comment section? Is that right? Is it Sanford and McDonnell Hall? No, that I don't. That's the Air Force Academy logo down there on the left on that podium. There's a reason I'm bringing this up because it's gonna... Yeah, pretty sure it is. U.S. Air Force Academy. So this crap's going on. So this person's in the Space Force. This colonel's in the Space Force. And clearly going around giving DEI training. But the reason it blew my mind that was happening at the Air Force Academy, and I think a lot of you guys are going to appreciate this. I can't believe I didn't catch it when I was prepping for the show, but this is taking place at the U.S. Air Force Academy, and this is exactly why all of our standards have gone to crap. When we talk about like twisting the minds of our youth and everything else, these are the projected future leaders of our military, and they are being, how do you want to say, screwed over? I guess, no, maybe not screwed over, but they're being indoctrinated, right, by this transgender garbage. I see you guys. If you see me stretch it on the screen, it's because my camera is a little off center. So I want to get myself back into a little bit more presentable of a picture mode for you today. Dude, why? Why is that a thing? And like, if you were listening to the beginning of this episode, you were like, why is Matt playing Robert Kipling? Like, why is that going down? It's because of crap like this. Our military has been screwed over for way too long. I kid you not. This is like sanctioned, mandatory. This is not something that they would have the option to do, more than likely that they were required to go sit down and listen to this stuff. So why is it that they have to justify and explain. How does, being transgender prepare or ready to the force or make it any better? That is a solid question. That's what we've been asking this entire time. How does the DEI actually make the military better, stronger, and faster? It's designed for two things. It's designed to break shit and kill people. That's it. That's what our military should be for, not for social experiments. And here you have this over at the Air Force Academy injecting all of the brand new leaders. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have news for you. That stops today. And when I say it stops today, I mean it. It stops today. Check this out. Executive order coming out January 27, 2025. I can't believe this crap. It took me a minute to read it, and I'm going to read this. I think this is going to be such a huge deal, and there's another executive order that I'm about to go over here in a second. Like, I can't wrap my head around a lot of this, like how it has gone on for so long and the common sense language that goes in here. But yeah, we're going to go over it. As chief executive and as the commander in chief, I am committed to mediocrity to meritocracy and the elimination of race-based and sex-based discrimination within the armed forces. No individual or group within our armed forces should be preferred or disadvantaged on a basis of sex, race, ethnicity, color, or creed. Now, that statement is one that I went and I complained about a lot yesterday online before this executive order actually got published. I complained about it actually on a Twitter space, hundreds, thousands. I don't even know how many people were in there. I was busy doing other stuff when I was talking about it. How in the world can you honestly say that we had a military that was DEI inclusive when you have men, women, etc., that are meeting different standards and receiving the same pay? You can't. You can't. What you're doing is you're discriminating against one group based on their sex. Men primarily have been discriminated against inside of the United States military for way too freaking long, especially if you're, and I dare I say it, a white man. You got discriminated quite a bit, believe it or not, whether you realize it or not. Texas Actual coming in with 50. He says, off topic, but who said Trump stopped all aid to Ukraine? Witnessed today a convoy of 15 trucks escorted through the border with U.S. weapons and 24 Max Pros. Wow. Trump smart, got every one to thing, and it stopped, but secretly still sending. No, so everything that's already been allocated or like going out, what they did was they put a pause on anything further because what they want to do is they want to make sure. So Texas, that's a great question. What they did is they put a pause on anything further to make sure that it aligns with our U.S. national security interest. So there is like a 90, I think it's either a 60 or a 90-day pause while they're reviewing all of the policies that Biden had in place. Israel had the same complaint. They were told that U.S. stuff was going to not be sent to them and all of this other crap, but that's not the case. There was weapon sales and everything else. So the Max Pros, all of that other crap that's crossing the border, that stuff that's already in the chute, already in the pipeline, it's going to continue to roll down. All right. It's going to continue to go. And I think Trump is a little bit pissed off, Texas, and I think you will be too when I have an offline conversation with you. But this stuff that we're going over right here, yeah, this is big news, big deal. So Texas, appreciate your donation. Our military is getting fixed. And this was the one thing I said that like Putin was laughing at us for, everybody else. We had years and years and years of this garbage, and it's finally coming to an end. We had, I mean, it's going to go over it in here. I believe it actually talks about the horrific recruitment numbers that we ended up having. Unfortunately, in recent years, and uniformed leadership alike have implemented diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and their attendant race and sex preferences within the armed forces. These actions undermine leadership, merit, and unit cohesion, thereby eroding lethality and force readiness. This is a common sense statement, and this is one that we have been talking about and complaining about for the longest dang time. It's not military aid stop, it's foreign funding and stuff like that to make sure everything goes in. Yeah, everybody's correct. I'm glad we're all together in the comment section. They also violate America's consciousness by engaging in individuals' race and sex discrimination. It is the policy of my admin that the Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security, with regard to the United States Coast Guard, and every element of the armed forces should operate free from any reference based on race or sex. Any preference based on race or sex is now gone inside the United States military. Why? because your race, gender, sex, whatever you want to call it, is totally irrelevant. Completely and totally irrelevant. I want, just like the military leaders want, just like you want when you're flying on an airplane, I want the best damn pilot flying the airplane so I don't die. As a retired U.S. service member, I don't speak for them. I'm just telling you my piece. When my ass was on the line, pardon my French, that was too much today. When my butt was on the line, I want the best leaders. I don't want to die because of some stupid policy to make somebody's feelings feel better. It's a life and death situation. It's not a joke. It's not a social experiment. We're at fricking war. A DEI office means an office, division, job, or other unit of an institution established for the purpose thereof, influencing, hiring, employing. They just go over and define it. The term gender ideology has the meaning given to that term in Section 2F of the Executive Order, January 20th, 2025, defending women for gender ideology, extremism, blah, 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 blah. The term divisive concepts has a meaning. Divisive concepts, something that they've been doing for a long time, dividing us up around the military. Based on all of those things, abolishing the DEI bureaucracy. The Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall abolish every DEI office within the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security with regard to the U.S. Coast Guard, respectively, including any vestiges of DEI offices such as sub-offices, programs, elements, or initiatives established to promote a race-based preference systems that subverts meritocracy, perpetuates unconstitutional discrimination, and promotes divisive concepts or gender ideology. How about that? A military where everybody wears a uniform and has uniform standards, we're going to start treating people uniformly. Amazing. What a drastic, radical concept. Department of Defense internal review. The Secretary of Defense shall conduct an internal review that documents actions taken in the pursuit of DEI initiatives, including all instances of race and sex discrimination and activities designated to promote race or sex-based preference system. The report shall be delivered to the Secretary of Defense within 90 days of this order. Promoting American values, divisive concepts, blah, 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 blah. Dude, it goes deeper and deeper into this crap. Implementation. This is where it gets in. Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall ensue detailed guidance for implementation of this order or their respective departments within 30 days. So there is your keywords right there. Within 30 days, they are going to have the guidance approved going up through Trump. They're going to have this guidance approved, all right, for how this is going to take place. This is not going to be an overnight deal. People are not getting relieved of their command today. None of that's happening, but it is starting and it's stopping all in the same day, and that is today. Even Target is dropping DEI. No crap, because it's stupid. Severability. If any provision of this order or the application of any provision to any person or circumstance is held to be invalid, the remainder of this order and the application of its provisions to any other person or circumstances shall not be affected thereby. Nothing of this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise impact authority granted by the Executive Department, functions of the Director of Office of Management, blah, 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 blah. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, entities, officers, employees, agents, or any other person. How about them apples? I'm not an attorney, but the way I read that, it says that by doing this, you don't get to retaliate. You don't get to come back and whine and complain about it, and you don't get anything special for it. Of course, there's going to be trolls in here. They're upset. They're upset, and that's okay. They're allowed to be upset. But this is the executive order, and it's the military. Again, made to break shit and kill people, not to push forward some sort of freaking ideological agenda. Mad Army Vet says, not enough green in the chat. People, it's less than a combo meal for lunch for the basic membership for the month. Smash that like button and join. Ladies and gentlemen, he is not lying. It's $4.99 for a Speak the Truth membership. If you guys can get away with that, I greatly appreciate it. I would love to have this chat filled with truth supporters because that is what we're going to do. If you guys are new to this channel, my goal, my plan, here's my beliefs. If you haven't listened to this podcast before, if you haven't seen me before, here's my goals. It's to provide you with factual information. If I make a mistake, I'll come back and correct it. Intellectual honesty is something that I feel is missing from today's society. So I require people to be intellectually honest, and I will be intellectually honest with you. Yes, I support Israel. Yes, I also support Ukraine. But I also have no problem telling Israel when you occupy a mosque, it is not a good idea to spray paint the walls and turn it into a chow hall. And that's okay to do. I don't have to agree with everything they do. And in the same way, I also don't agree with everything Donald Trump does. I just don't. It's not my thing. All right. You should be an independent thinker and think for yourself and fact check everything I do. If you don't have a membership, I just saw a buttload drop. I can't even ignore this, how many freaking memberships just got dropped by all of this coming through. That was absolutely insane. Christopher Hincliffe came in, gifting out a Speak the Truth membership. Bill Hoekstra coming in, gifting out 20 Speak the Truth memberships. Texas Actual gifting out 50 Speak the Truth memberships. And Christopher's coming in, gifting out another one. Ladies and gentlemen, John Wilson then followed it up with an additional 20. If your name is not green right now, holy hell. Make sure you get over to the little community. I think it's the community or the post tabs on our YouTube homepage. Click that link, go over, get in the Discord. Awesome community, love it to death. And we're going to be going over to the Discord to get people's thoughts, feelings, and opinions on all of this towards the end of the show. Now, this isn't the only thing of where it stopped. Chalk, thanks for coming to Truth Supporter, bro. I can't pronounce your whole name. I'm very sorry about that. This isn't the only thing. Fact sheet ended up dropping yesterday as well. Let me get that fact sheet up on the wall here. Fact sheet, President Trump restores merit and lethality to America's armed forces. The executive order bans the use of discriminatory race or sex-based preferences by any element of the armed forces, the Department of Defense, or the Department of Homeland Security. The order also abolishes any remnant of the diversity, equity, inclusion bureaucracy within the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security. The Secretary of Defense will task the Department of Defense with conducting an internal review of all instances of race and sex-based discrimination based on Department of Defense DEI initiatives. So if you've been discriminated against, your day is coming. That's the craziest thing about it. DEI actually discriminates against people based on everything. Well worth it. All join and get the facts. Love you guys. You guys, this YouTube channel has gone through a ringer with YouTube. They don't like it because I come on here and I do things like this. I'll tell you that Trump's policy on Ukraine, it's not probably going to work. I'll tell you that what he's going to end up doing in Israel is likely going to work, and the Middle East is about to be in turmoil. And the executive order that he just signed designating cartels as foreign terror organizations, you've got about a week to go before we get the list. That's going to cause a war on the border and likely here at home. You're going to see stuff here in the United States of America that you've never seen before. And I'm going to talk to you guys all about that as we continue to go through this. Trust me, this is the time you want to be a true supporter. Prior to harmful changes introduced by the Obama and Biden admins, the United States military offered equality and opportunity to every American capable of and interested in serving their country. Yet these two admins exploited the military in favor of identity politics, harming our national defense, undermining the non-political nature of the military, and eroding morale and recruitment. Here it is. Fact. Due to this woke assault, the services together logged their lowest recruiting record since 1940 with a 41,000 troop shortfall in 2023. If you've been watching the show, you already knew that was a thing. We had a massive recruitment deficit over the entire Biden administration. I don't think there was a single time that the Army actually met its recruiting goals underneath the Biden administration. I don't. Zoer, your show is inoculation for the woke mind virus. Appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I saw other people signing up to be true supporters as well. I'm sorry if I didn't get to you. If I sit there and read everybody that does, it gets lost. And I love you guys and appreciate all of the support. So now we start looking in this, right? And we start going over it. So the lowest recruitment numbers, and we talk about why those recruitment numbers are so low, we just got to get to the brass tacks. The brass tacks is the majority of the military comes from a conservative background. All of your guys and gals now that join combat arms, all right, generally speaking, are going to end up coming from your rural America background. They have a very conservative base, very conservative background. And it's very like family oriented as well. Okay, meaning I served, I'm going to push my kids to serve because I think it's a good thing to do. It's also a way historically to get people out of poverty. So if you come from, an area of poverty, or if you're, you can join the military, you can play your cards right, you can get out, you can gain great experience, you can go to college, you can do all of those things, you can save money, and you can get out and be 10 times better off, and you can break these generational curses that we have inside of this country when it comes to poverty. Now, here's the great thing about all of this. Those 41,000 shortfalls, all of those happen for a reason, and we saw it coming. So we actually have the facts to kind of back it up. What the Biden admin and what the old DOD was pushing was saying that the reason we had such a massive recruitment shortfall had nothing to do with all of the DEI policies, regardless of how many vets sat there and screamed this at the top of their lungs, that DEI was killing the military. We screamed at the top of our lungs and nobody gave a crap. They tried blaming the recruitment shortfall on the war's ending. And while that might be true, that you do have people that get out, the reason they're getting out and the reason people aren't signing up, because America goes to war on average every 10 years, at least prior to the global war on terror. On average, about every 10 years, the U.S. is in war. Think about it. We had, World War II, 1940s, Korea War, 1950s, Vietnam, 1960s, going into 1970. We had Grenada, Panama in the 80s. Then we had the Gulf War in the 90s. Then we had the Iraq and global war on terror that's still up leading up to this day. So it's not war, because you pretty much know if you sign up for the U.S. military, you have a huge probability of going to war, because it happens every 10 years. And if that number is dropped, like we just get out of one, dude, it's coming. And the longer that decade creeps on, you're going somewhere. Something's going down. Restoring a warfighter mindset. This is something that everybody in the military should probably listen to. The armed forces of the United States exist to preserve freedom and the American way of life. The armed forces of the United States exist to preserve our freedom and the American way of life. That is a non-partisan issue. Partisan politics doesn't apply to that statement because it's 100% true. Trump is committed to a merit-based system of sex-neutral policies. Imagine that. Colorblind recruitment, promotion, and retention that will return our military to greatness. Why is that important? Sex-neutral policies. We're about to get into them here in just a sec. There's a whole other executive order that I got to go over with you guys that's covering this. Trump vowed to get rid of the woke generals who prioritize social experiments over warfighting. He stated in his 2024 re-election campaign that you can't have a woke military. You need people that want to win. They want to win wars. That's their purpose, is to win wars, not to be woke. But we don't have a great military, and that is not a slam on the military. It's just a fact that these policies have made it impossible. JPK says, appreciate you, brother. Good to see you back, speaking the truth and always sticking to the facts. I'm doing my best. Here's the other part. I didn't see this in the executive order, but they put it on the fact sheet. I didn't see it in the executive order, but the White House put it on their fact sheet to get rid of the woke generals. Now, I'm telling you right now, inside of the military, there's going to be a lot of people that are scared. They're going to be worried about losing their job and everything else. And at the same time, these woke generals, and it's not just going to be the generals, I promise you. It's going to be field grade officers, all sorts of people, senior ranking, non-commissioned officers. They're going to be worried for their positions. They're going to likely go out in front of formation today and they're going to say this is BS. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a commander that walks out in front of you today, a first sergeant, senior non-com, anybody that goes out in front of your formation today and says, this is BS, I want you to pull out your cell phone and I want you to record that shit and I want you to send me the video, because they're going directly against the commander-in-chief of the United States of the Armed Forces. I will take that shit and I will make it go viral and we'll get them out of the military where they belong. That's where they belong. So if you come across this today, if you were in formation, end of the day, COB, they'll probably figure this out by COB today. You send me that video. You send me that recording, we'll get them gone. Period. I didn't like it when I had to listen to Obama for years on end. I actually sent Obama an email at one point in time from my DOD account that was like, bro, you're messing up. At least I had the balls to say something. He sent me an email back. I actually respected him for that. He sent me an email back and he was like, Matt, while you and I might not agree on all policies, or most for that matter, which made me giggle inside because he knows I don't agree with him, but I'm trying to come to the table. At least he had the cojones to do that. If your frickin' commanders are going out in front of your formation and standing you down, send me that crap today. You tag me, send me, you can be anonymous. You can find me on Twitter. My handle's right down here below. Send it to me. Bro, I will crush them. Do it. I know all the dudes over at the Anti-Hero podcast that frickin' outed Tim Kennedy. I know them dudes. I know frickin' people all around. You send me that of your commander running their mouth, or senior non-com, or any non-com for that matter, running their mouth, we'll get them gone. I'll take care of it. Don't you worry. Matt has your back. I'm retired. They can kiss my ass. Here's your next one. Ended up coming in. Prioritizing military excellence. So the first one that we went over, restoring America's fighting force. Next one, prioritizing military excellence. By the authority vested in me as the president of the Constitution, blah, 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 blah. It just goes into it. Purpose, U.S. military has a clear mission to protect the American people and our homeland as the world's most lethal and effective fighting force. Success in this existential mission requires a single focus on developing the requisite warrior ethos, and the pursuit of military excellence cannot be diluted to accommodate political agendas or other ideologies harmful to unit cohesion. I have a feeling J.D. Vance helped write this dang letter. Recently, however, the armed forces have been afflicted with racial gender ideology to appease activists unconcerned with the requirements of military service, like physical, mental health, selfishness, and unit cohesion. Longstanding DoD policies cited there provides that it is the policy of the DoD to ensure that the service members are free of medical conditions and physical defects that may be reasonably be expected to require excessive time lost from duty for necessary treatment or hospitalization. Now, that is the key right there. That's DoD policy, and it's in black and white, and it's been the law of the land forever. Military members free of medical conditions, physical defects that may reasonably be expected to require excessive time lost from duty for necessary treatment and hospitalization. There's your transgender clause. If anybody was looking for it, it's right there, and that's what it's based on. Not hate, but the sheer fact that that is not the burden of the U.S. government, and it affects unit cohesion, morale, and readiness. And in addition to that, if you are an officer, or if you are a senior enlisted, or if you are any leader, dude, even if you're just a basic member of a unit going through that, you're filling a spot, you're filling a billet, you're holding down a frickin' EMTO space to where nobody else can take because you're in it. And if your butt's in the hospital getting transition surgery, if you're busy getting hormone treatment and you can't test out on the frickin' physical fitness exams, if you can't carry your frickin', required weapon systems or whatever, because you're busy getting gender transition treatment, dude, you have no business in the military. Why? Because of DOD policy, instruction, DODI 6130.03 provides that it is a policy of the DoD to ensure the service members are free of medical conditions and physical defects that may be reasonably be expected to require excessive time lost from duty or necessary treatment or hospitalization. That's why. That's why you go through MEPS. That's why you have to walk like a duck. Somebody sticks their finger in your butt and you got to turn your head and cough to make sure that is not a thing. But for some reason, we ignored it when it came down to DEI, transgenders, and all that other crap. No more. It's gone. And that is the official policy. And these are the things that we've been complaining about. When I was talking about the don't ask, don't tell policy and why I thought it was good and people hated on me for it. Don't ask, don't tell policy, in my opinion, was good. because you could serve as a gay human being. You could serve as a lesbian under that. I wasn't allowed to ask. You weren't allowed to tell. And in order to get kicked out of the military for it, you had to affect unit morale and readiness, i.e., your gender that you prefer to have sex with had to somehow cause a disruption in unit cohesion, morale, and readiness. You couldn't just get kicked out for being gay. You couldn't get kicked out just for being a lesbian, although I'm sure it was twisted to that effect and people used it that way, but that's not how it was designed and intended to be used. Because we got rid of that, now we're here. FYI, ladies and gentlemen. Game clips. Wow, man, I can't believe common sense is back. Bro, we're not even there yet. You wait. Consistent with the military mission and longstanding DoD policy, expressing a false gender identity divergent from an individual's sex cannot satisfy the rigorous standards necessary for military service. Beyond the hormonal and surgical medical interventions involved, adoption of gender identity inconsistent with an individual's sex with a soldier's commitment to an honorable, truthful, and disciplined lifestyle, even in one's personal life, a man's assertion that he is a woman and his requirement that honors this falsehood is not consistent with the humility and selflessness required of a service member. What they're saying is if that's how you feel, you should bite your damn tongue and stop affecting unit morale and readiness by going and getting surgery and frickin' hormonal therapy and all this stuff while you're in the military, because it's going to take you out of the fight. Now, this is where it starts getting juicy, ladies and gentlemen. And again, if you guys see this stuff happening from this day forward and you're an active duty member of the military, send it to me and I will handle it. Make sure there's timestamps, dates, and other stuff on it so that we can identify when it happened. Because as of today, well, we'll get there. Hold on. Whew. Within 60 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense shall update the DoD policy, incorporating changes 5 May 2024, medical standards for military service and retention, incorporation change 1 June 2006 to reflect the purpose of this policy in this order. He ends up going back and kicking out like a bunch of prior executive orders. Within 30 days of the date of the order, this order, the Secretary shall identify additional steps to fully implement it, substitute the President through the Assistant of the Presidential National Security Affairs. Absent extraordinary operational necessity, the armed forces shall neither allow males to use or share sleeping, changing, bathing facilities designated for females, nor allow females to use or share sleeping, changing, or bathing facilities for men. So let's look at that because it's very important to see how it goes. So now we got to go back up to Section 4. Within 60 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense shall update Volume 1, Medical Standards incorporating blah, 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 incorporating the changes to reflect the purpose and policy of this order. But it is ordered today. Do not allow men and women to share bathrooms, changing stations, showers, any of that crap. It's all gone. Men go to the men's room, women go to the men's room. There it is in black and white. That's it. But it's absent extraordinary operational necessity. If you're in the field and you have a female in your unit, deal with it. Deal with it. What this is not, that's not talking about operational necessity. All right. That's not what this is talking about. If you're male in a unit with a lot of females, women, stop complaining. You can't use this. Operational necessity. So short of operational necessity, it goes into effect. And that is a key important statement in there that they got right. I had to read it twice to make sure they didn't screw that up. Within 30 days of the issuance of the respective updates, directives, and guidance under the subsections A, B, and C of the section, Secretary of Homeland Security shall, respect to the Coast Guard, issue updates, directives, guidance, blah, 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 implementing all of this stuff. Severability. If any provision of this order or the application of any provision to any person's circumstances held to be invalid, the remainder of this order and the application of its provisions to any persons or circumstances shall not be affected thereby. Authority granted by law to an executive department, agency head thereof. Ladies and gentlemen, it's over. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. It is not intended to, nor create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, forcible at law or in equity by the party, blah, 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 blah. It's done. There it is, black and white. If you haven't seen it before, black and white, there it is. It's done. It's over and it's gone with, because we're tired of it. There's too many people that are over it. And like I said, this video that I showed, let me get this up. If you missed it at the beginning, it's the U.S. Air Force Academy.
I'm going to focus a little bit more today on my story and that of transgender service members and how and
this is what our military leaders had been indoctrinated with for so long. And ladies and gentlemen, it's finally come to an end. You no longer have to worry about it. It's over and it's gone. Now, I couldn't just sit here and do all that stuff without bringing some other really, really interesting facts to the table. And one of the most interesting facts I had to bring to the table, let me open this up for you. While we're on the executive order frickin', talk, is this. I couldn't help but notice that there is an executive order that Trump put out a couple days ago, and I somehow overlooked this. And it goes down to the designating the cartels as foreign terror organizations. I'm going to blow this up on your screen. This statement right here is within the same order of designating cartels foreign terror organizations. We've got about a week to go. It's going to be a really interesting ride. All the way down at the bottom, Section 3, subsection B. Within 14 days of the date of this order, Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall take appropriate action in consultation with the Secretary of State to make operational preparations regarding the implementation of any decision I make to invoke the Alien Enemies Act, Title 50, U.S. Code 21, blah, blah, blah. Who wants to guess what that is? Anybody in the comments section? What do you guys think that is? Without looking it up, tell me what you think that means. Down in the comments, I'm waiting for you. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably know what it means. Who knows what that is? It's not Optimus Prime. It's none of that crap, but it's going to be here in the homeland. If this goes through, it's going to be here in the homeland. What that refers to, what that particular Alien Enemies Act under U.S. Code 50, declaring war. No, it's not duct tape. No, 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 no. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the law. The last time it was used was during World War II. Let me give you a little bit of background. The last time that was used was during World War II. And it was used to put Japanese, Italian, and German non-citizens into internment camps. That's what that means. This little statement, subsection B, to make operational preparations regarding the implementation of any decision I make to invoke that, that is the act that we used. I am not kidding you. I had to triple check it. There is camps already made. You are correct. There was some U.S. citizens in there, but it's non-citizens is the term that's written. I'm telling you what it says by law. I'm not telling you how it was used and what ended up happening. I'm telling you what the law says. Non-citizens. Non-citizens. I'm telling you what the law says. Internment camps. That's what this could lead to. It's not a joke. How did we overlook that in all of this? But the more I started to think about it, the more it makes sense. Because if we're going to declare war on the cartel, and they're here in the United States of America, like I said yesterday, they're all over the dang place. Well, we're going to have shit blowing up. We're going to have gunfights here at home. All of that stuff is going to start going down. And so it is, it would be irresponsible of us not to deal with it. It's coming out of Denver. Check this out. Denver. Denver is a sanctuary city, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know. Let me tell you how much I don't miss wearing that crap and walking around the ice and snow. I freaking sprained my ankle one time up there, freaking chasing some asshole after a vehicle pursuit. He jumped over a fence. I jumped over after him, slipped, sprained my ankle, ended up freaking catching the guy anyways. Go be a law enforcement officer in ice and snow. Your life sucks. I hate it. DEA agents, along with freaking police departments, ended up going up after folks up in Denver. They went after 2 illegal immigrants that were peddling a massive amount of fentanyl. Massive amount of fentanyl. They are finally using the law for what the law is intended instead of hiding behind all of the diversity, equity, inclusion. And let me tell you, the days of this stuff are long gone. This isn't going to be lasting very much longer either.
You can't be serious. And what did you pull me for?
Why you acting that?
I want to know, what exactly are you getting behind me
Stop
for?
sign. You didn't stop at a stop sign.
I did stop as much as I can stop.
As much as I can stop. So either number one, you have defective brakes on your vehicle that don't allow your vehicle to come to a halt and you're operating an unsafe motor vehicle, or you just admitted to not stopping at a stop sign. So either way, congratulations. This gentleman's actually a city council member.
Stop at all. You rolled through that joint.
Are you serious, cuz?
I am serious.
Do whatever you got to do. What do you need?
I got you. Just let me see your license, man.
God, Jesus Christ. What do you need? Don't think I ain't going to talk to Gary about this.
What's that got to do with anything?
It's got a lot to do with it. But I'm going home. You know me.
I got you.
Like I'm running around here with my gun toting, weed smoking. Son, I'm the one that hired you. I'm bringing you on. Are you crazy? Yes, absolutely. On your camera, I put you on. Come on, man.
You got the registration insurance on you, man?
Jesus Christmas. Oh, made my whole small.
Why you acting like this, man? It's
You know,
on your
because
car,
I'm trying to go home, bro.
I got you. I understand
I live right there, bro. Like you actually pulling over an elected official. Bro, you're not pulling over a random. You're not pulling over.
And this is the crap that's going to stop. The divisive America is going to go over. If you listen to him at the beginning of the video, number one, this guy's already worked up. If you want Matt's assessment on this from my law enforcement experience, this guy was pissed off. He got pulled over in the first place. Probably thinks he was targeted because of the color of his skin. The cop probably didn't even know the color of his skin, to be perfectly honest with you, when he ended up conducting this traffic stop. That guy was pissed off. When the officer walks up, listen to what he says.
Oh, man, what's going on? Why you acting this way?
You can't be serious. And what did you pull me for?
Why you acting that?
I want to know, what exactly are you getting behind me
for?
Stop
sign. You didn't stop at a stop sign.
I did stop as much as I can stop.
He ends up calling him cuz, like, as he gets into it. So he's all worked up that this ended up happening. Now, how did this end up working out for the gentleman? Well, not so good. Supervisor ends up showing up on scene. Officer briefs the supervisor. Watch.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, what's going on with you, man? I'm talking to the chief right now. This guy is crazy.
What's going on?
You know who I am, right?
What's that?
You do not know who I am either?
I know you are, sir.
Oh, all right.
I know you are.
Exactly. Anyway, chief, please talk with them. Tell them that when you get behind elected officials, tell them, oh, my bad. Hey, you should stop at the stop sign. See you go about your business. Not here, dude. I need your license, registration, joint. Why you treat me like I'm some mother?
All right, listen, man. You received just one citation, all right? I cut you a break on a stop sign, where your registration's expired since July of last year, all right? There's no...
Boom. Now, I don't know if you noticed or not, but there's snow on the ground. And his registration been expired since July of last year. So over, like, this is January 1st, January 4th. So his registration's expired. Now, for those of you that don't know, if you have an expired registration, you're operating a motor vehicle and your freaking state goes by the universal traffic code and your vehicle's unregistered and it's on the street, this officer has a right to tow your vehicle. Legally. He can tow the vehicle. And I'm pretty sure, depending on where that's at, it could be a misdemeanor offense and you could lose your license. Like, or maybe not lose your license, but get hooked for it. So it's a problem, right? The cop actually really does. He cuts him multiple breaks because he allows him to drive away and everything else. And he ends up issuing him a citation for it.
Nothing I can do with that, all right? So it's just one citation. It's not court mandatory. But if you'd like to show up for court and plead not guilty, I circle the court number on the top right for you. Provide them more information. They'll give you a court date to show up in court. Otherwise, drive safe. Take care of that.
Why is that any of that an issue? Now, I'm just going to let you guys know right now that that is an example of talking yourself into a ticket. There is a saying in law enforcement, and it's called, he talked himself into a ticket. That's talking yourself into a ticket. There's a very high probability that if he would have actually been a decent human being, been like, yep, I rolled it. My bad, man. Sorry about it. Hey, your registration expired. You're right. Sorry, I'm really busy. I'm a freaking city council member. I haven't had the time. Every time I show up to work, I always forget to bring my paperwork in and I forget to walk down the street to the office and just get my shit updated. He could have said something like that. Or he could have been, you're right, I'm sorry. My other car's down and I've got to drive this one. I don't know what it is, but there's a million different reasons for it to go. Bottom line, there's no excuse to be a jackwagon when you're rolling around with a 7-month expired registration or 5-month expired registration after you just rolled through a stop sign right in front of the cop and then just assume that because you're a city council member, the law doesn't apply to you. All of this garbage, ladies and gentlemen, is gone. It's over. I actually thought that was a really good video because the cop did end up remaining respectful. He did end up calling us freaking superior over everything else, and that's how it went. Now, I want to go over to the Discord because I want to hear from you guys. I'm going to head in there right now. If you guys want to chat, I want to chat with you. I want to hear from you. So jump in the Discord section, go into the live with Matt, and we're going to talk about it if you're a true supporter. If you just got gifted out of Speak the Truth membership and you haven't gone in there and you haven't got yourself one yet, or if you haven't signed up to be a true supporter, for the love of God, please do so. I'm opening up the live with Matt section. I look forward to talking to you guys on everything we went over today, the policy. It's almost like a pulse check on our current government, right? I want to know where you guys are at and what you're thinking about it. I'm going to actually turn this on so that you guys don't have to see like my massive face over there. And then I'll get this sucker going. Bam. I want to know what y'all think about it. Jump up on in, raise your hand, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to chat. I want to hear from you. Evil Rick says, constitutional amendment to allow Trump and future presidents to serve 3 non-consecutive terms brought up by a politician. Thoughts? I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think we need to stick with 2. And, you know, there's a lot of people that might think that that's a good thing that we have. No. I just know. It's not. I don't think we need presidents to serve 3 terms. I think 2 is more than enough. I really do. And I think it's a dangerous slope when we start doing things of that nature. I'm not a big fan of changing it. Now, it's a constitutional amendment, so it's going to take, like 2/3? They're probably not going to get it, but they're going to propose things like that anyways. So if you guys are over in the Discord and you want to come up, if you're members of the military and you want to speak, by all means, jump up into the Discord, raise your hand, and we'll start speaking and we'll start talking about it. Looks like we already got something going on. Juice Junkie says, I say we should go to a 10-year plan, 5 years, and then you get to try to rerun for your other 5, and then after that, it's done. The only reason why I say that is because you get more stuff done. He's right. But you could also wreck the country in that long period of time. That's why I'm not cool with it. If we get another freaking Biden in office that, I don't know, just ignores all of the freaking laws, tries sending people to jail for things that they shouldn't go to jail for and does all, I mean, it's just no, right? We're not going to put up, we're not going to deal with that type of stuff anymore. So, how do I want to say this? I don't agree with it. Texas, I see you in there, brother. I hope you're feeling better. I couldn't help but notice you're not talking today, which is kind of weird. And that's okay. But if you guys want to come up and chat about it, you don't have to do that either. I don't see any hands raised. Maybe I need to restart the browser. Maybe that's what I need to do because I don't see any of that going on. And typically I do today, but not right now. That's my stance. I think the military has been eroded for way too long. I think this does a very good job of solving that problem. And I hope it gets solved. I really hope it gets fixed. Bones, bringing you up to the stage, buddy. Wow, man. Wow. Try to keep it clean, Bones. Try to keep it clean.
I will. I'll try.
What you got, brother?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I jumped in here to talk about the whole Iceland thing because I believe that people are missing a whole lot of information about it.
What about it?
Okay. Well, we've been toying with the idea of buying Iceland since we bought Alaska. And Alaska was known as that administration's folly. And we see how well Alaska actually turned out for us.
Mm-hmm.
But first off, if we did buy Greenland, it would not become the 51st state. It would become a territory of the United States like Puerto Rico.
Guam, American Samoa, the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas. We've got a couple of them, and a lot of people don't even know that.
Exactly. Second of all, if you look at our old Cold War early warning defense line, it actually starts in Greenland.
Oh, really?
And yes, it actually starts in Greenland.
I learned something new today. Okay.
And with the melting of the polar ice caps and everything, it actually puts Greenland in a geostrategic location to where you can monitor all of those shipping routes that are actually opening up now.
Yeah, that
It
makes
also
sense.
puts it in a geostrategic location to monitor Russian subs entering into the North Atlantic from the Arctic Ocean.
Now, don't we have,
And
I don't know this because I was never a Navy cat and I never understood that and like how sub hunting and all that works. But don't we already have that ability without having Greenland? Do you know?
we probably do. I'm not quite sure on that.
Okay.
But it would make it easier and it would give us more assets to be able to implement towards it.
That's
because
true.
we'd have that land to put all that stuff there. And there's also a possibility for Greenland to be rich in an abundance of rare earth minerals that we use in our cell phones, in our military hardware, and everything like that. And right now, China holds pretty much a monopoly on rare earth minerals.
Yes, they
So
do.
it would allow us to decrease our need for China to be able to gain those valuable assets and resources.
Now, let me ask you a question because, and for anybody that's up on the panel in here, I haven't personally dug into the Greenland situation. I thought it was a rumor, a joke, something weird that people ended up throwing out. I am unaware of any actual movement in order to make that happen. Are you? Like official movement, inquiries looking to do that?
So far, everything that I've seen is just Trump toying with the idea. I haven't actually seen any official steps being taken towards it yet. And I seen somebody saying in the comments, Greenland is not green. A little history on Greenland. Actually, parts of it
That's so interesting.
Parts of it were green pastures back during the days of the Viking times when it was discovered. It's just that with global climate change, Greenland has actually gotten colder, so it's gotten more iced over as time has gone by.
And it was
since
also
it was first named.
Well, it was also one of the things where Iceland got named Iceland and Greenland was Greenland to like redirect people after they got discovered as well, because there was a good chunk of it that was there. And so when they named it that way and like these things started popping up on the map or people were talking about it, they didn't want people to be going to Iceland if it's so damn pretty. They wanted them to be going to Greenland and vice, you know what I'm saying? To like keep the populations down. So it was also like a psyop that went into it that I thought was interesting as well.
Yeah. But
I was say, from what I understand, the I guess what do you call it, governor or whatever of Greenland, said that no matter what they decide to do, it would be a referendum that they vote on it.
Yeah, I don't see it happening right now. I think we have way too many things that we've got to deal with and clean up first before we take that on. And there's also a whole, you know, like I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at how we implemented like Alaska and Hawaii in, along with all the like all these other territories that we have. You know, like DC, it's a freaking territory. It's not even its own state. It's like, anyways, or the District of Columbia. I'm very curious to see how we went about like incorporating that and the federal funding that ends up getting cut off. I don't think we're in a position unless it adds more to our economy, and it's got to be a buttload more, because integrating people in today's society versus integrating them into society 100 years ago, I think has a different dollar amount attached. And I don't know if our country currently can sustain that unless the economy of those locations can make up for it, if that makes sense. So they're value added versus, you know, taking away.
Task and Purpose actually did an article on this back in 2020 during the election when Trump first announced toying with the idea of doing it.
Really? What Task and Purpose say?
That's actually where I got my information from.
2020.
I didn't realize it had been brought up that long ago, for being perfectly honest. I stayed away from all that crap for a while.
As far as Greenland goes for rare earth minerals, yes, there is a large deposit of them there.
What do they have?
I know that China is.
Rare earth minerals. I'm not sure exactly which ones off the top of my head, but there is a good amount of rare earth metals there.
Okay, I'll look it up real quick.
I know that China's been trying to get exclusive mining rights to Greenland for quite a while now, but they've been denying them.
I don't know if people understand that Greenland is actually under Danish control.
Yes,
So
it
It
is a
is.
semi-autonomous
like
part
people
of
are like,
Denmark.
oh, Greenland, the Greenland government. There's no Greenland government. Um, and the word around here is in the articles that I've read over the last few weeks or a week and a half, has been that the EU is basically the leaders of the EU countries are basically talking very quietly between each other, not to get into public to avoid public confrontation with Trump about Greenland. Let's like leave the topic off, so there's not further escalation about it. Um, Greenland is a very important place for the United States if you want to look at it as far as um, the geolocation of it for military wise, of course, because it's close to a lot of the places and it has access to a lot of the places
Yeah.
that the U.S. has people that need to be watched.
Well, it's
Russia and China have been lurking around Greenland for a while now, and I think that the whole thing. I don't think Trump wants Greenland or wants to really take Greenland under the U.S. control or whatever. I think it's one of these moves that he's doing. People forget that Trump is a business person. He's a real estate mogul. He knows business really well, and one of the things that Trump knows even better than all of that is how to make a deal. It's one of the first things he's done. And as much as you can like him or don't like him or like his policies or don't like his policies, I think this is another um, basically middle finger to Russia and to China,
it
saying
is.
it's all of these things are he's moving pawns on his board. He's not like going for the checkmate. He's just moving little pawns here and there and announcing that Greenland is very important to the US and he wants it for national security, and Denmark should allow him, and Denmark he has to look into if Denmark's rights to it is even legit and all of that. I think it's more to steer the pot on the other side of that chessboard, and people freak out about the wrong things. People, people
So-
just I don't think like they're gonna roll in with like he's gonna send a couple of aircraft carriers and
No,
roll in and take Greenland.
No.
Like
that would be
he's
irresponsible.
not gonna do that.
No,
I'll tell you. So I looked up what you guys were talking about with the rare earth minerals, and because I was very curious to see what it had, and my initial thought was, why wouldn't Biden, with some of the first executive orders that he signed, why wouldn't he have actually looked at this? Because one of the bigger deposits that it has there is neodymium. Neodymium, excuse me. It's used in the production of powerful permanent magnets essential for wind turbines and electric vehicle motors. So Biden, one of his first EOs that he ended up signing had to do with transitioning to a carbon neutral government, which included motor vehicles and everything else. And that is the whole reason we ended up seeing General Motors and everybody else start pumping out electric cars, coming up with their own versions. And we started seeing other things skyrocket that's basically offsetting the cost of those dang things. So having
the first thing Trump did though is reverse that.
Correct. So now vehicle prices should start becoming more reasonable, but neodymium is something that they would use. But then I started thinking, well, Biden did just pardon his entire family, and they do have holdings in all of these different Chinese companies and business dealings and all this mysterious money. So it would actually be beneficial for Biden's family not to consider Greenland. Throwing that out there. No?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense because Trump, the first day in office, he revoked or reversed he did an executive order on the all electric vehicle by 2035 thingy
Yep.
that Biden had signed. And Trump is very against wind turbines and all of that stuff.
Well, sure,
So I,
because they're stupid.
I don't know. There's a lot of use for neodymium, but there's rare minerals in every part in the world.
Correct.
There's rare minerals in literally almost, if you look at any part, you have different minerals. Like everybody's like, oh, Russia's attacking Ukraine because they want the lithium,
No,
because the largest lithium deposits is in Ukraine.
that's
I
not
don't
it.
know if you realize that, let's say you get the land of where the lithium is, it could take 10, 15 years to set up the infrastructure to actually start extracting that, and then it can
Right.
take years to actually utilize it. So that's not the reason why Russia is in Ukraine, and that's not the reason why Trump mentioned Greenland.
Nope.
Like Trump, if he needs that neodymium or whatever the hell it is, he can find it one way or the other somewhere else in an easier way than to try to take off a whole place. What he wants the Greenland is a power play against foreign adversaries. It's just simple as that. It's basically saying, if I want to put a foot somewhere and make it where I can respond to you faster than you can say my name, it's a play. It's nothing but a strong play, and I don't think he's actually going.
In my opinion, it's all the above.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, also, if you look at the Arctic expansion of Russia, I don't know if anyone's paid attention. They've been reactivating all the old Cold War bases off the Russian coast in the Arctic. They've really been building up the Arctic big time. So we need to actually have a little more assets up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could agree. And I mean, honestly, I'd be curious to see the actual state after. I mean, truthfully, I hate war, and I think anybody that's actually fought in war has this weird love-hate relationship where you have these weird mixed emotions where you love it and then you hate it. You love it because it's exciting and you're addicted to adrenaline and everything else, but you hate all of the pain and experience that comes along with it. It just sucks.
Really? You don't say.
I think it was Eisenhower who said that there are none who want peace more than those who fight the war.
Right. But I'm going to be very curious.
Wait, what was that? I didn't catch that. What was that you said, Bones?
I think it was Eisenhower who said that there are none who want peace more than those who fight the war.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you said something else. That's yeah, that makes more sense.
Well, dude, I said it years ago on this podcast, right? I said it before on this podcast when everybody was talking about a civil war and all this other crap, and they're going to uprise. And I'm like, if you guys want to start a war on American soil, you want to have a civil war here in America, keep that trash out of my neighborhood. Keep it away from my family.
Yeah,
keep it away from me. And I don't care what side of the fight you're on. If you come disturb the peace and the lives of my family members are threatened, and you do that, I will kill every last one of you. Yep. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants to deal with that crap. We just want to live in peace. We want to be left alone. And that, I think, is I think that is, essentially what we're looking at with all these executive orders, which is, dude, let everybody do them, keep the military strong, and leave everybody else the hell alone. Do whatever you want to do, but don't expect me to swallow your garbage at the same time. Just because you want to smoke meth doesn't mean I'm going to smoke meth. You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you're right.
Yeah, you saw the internet freaking out about Pete's bodyguard.
Oh, wearing the kippah? Yeah.
You know who that guy is?
No.
I'll send you his LinkedIn in a bit.
Okay. Is he a badass?
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. I kind of figured
He's
as
a
much.
good dude. He's a New Yorker.
Oh, no kidding. That's cool, man.
God.
You know what's really sad, man? Like I said, I had a Jewish buddy over the other day, and we went downtown Dallas. And while he was here, the guy that's traveling with him hadn't been here. And I was like, well, while you're here, seeing as how the JFK files have just been released, let me take you to the place where JFK got shot. You know, like he's like, so we're gonna jump on the mic. I'm like, no, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna chill out, right? And the guy's Jewish, and probably my favorite story that came out of it, I'll tell you afterwards. But what shocked me is when we went downtown. Now, I've got my Glock and a spare mag on me. This guy that else is like traveling with him, also plenty armed, right? And the guy that I'm with can take care of himself without the two of us as well. And when we went downtown after I parked, before we walked over to the JFK place, he actually removed his kippa. And I'm like, why? Why would you, like, screw that, man? If anybody wants to start some crap, let him. You know, I got your back. He's got your back. I got you. And he's like, it's not worth it. He's like, because they
Yeah, avoid confrontation though.
But
Like
it's
I
so
do that
sad
too.
that you can't. No, like America needs to think about that though. America needs to think about that. That I understand his stance. Like I get it. But the sad truth is that Jews have to do that. They feel the need to do that. They feel the need to do that so
Yeah.
that they don't get targeted and they don't get involved. And yet the other side will walk around wearing whatever they want and fly terrorist flags and nothing gets done to them.
Yeah, I mean, I traveled not that long ago through Europe, and I had my backpack, and it was like my my backpack, and I had my Ukrainian patch on it and all
Sure.
that it's a Velcro, and I was in this area. I'm not gonna say what country, but a country in Europe, and it's known to like have a mixed feelings about Ukraine. And I was hanging out with a buddy, and people like were staring at my backpack, and I'm in safe clothing. I'm just a regular dude. So I went and I took off the patch, not because I was trying to hide that I'm from Ukraine right now and I'm traveling through here and I'm dealing with that. It's just like I'd rather avoid it because
Sure.
I'm just like between me and you, Matt, if that dude didn't take his keep off and you did run into some idiots and you did have to use your Glock, like that's a whole bag of like consequences that yes, it's the right thing. Yes, you'll probably end up being right out of the legal side of it and everything will be fine, but to go through all of that for something that's kind of easy to avoid,
It's
which it's
religious
still crazy that you
freedom.
should
This
have
is
to do it.
this is what kills me on it.
But
It's religious freedom. You shouldn't have
yeah,
to hide
it
your
is.
religion. I should be able to sit here and state I'm a Christian without having
Yeah,
to worry
I'm an
about being
Orthodox. I
targeted.
grew up as an Orthodox Jew, and trust me, I've been through all of that. Like I grew up in Brooklyn, just you know, like with all of that, and I had to go through that my whole life. But I learned over time that I used to be when I was younger. We would purposely like go to the places in New York where they had the people that hated us, and we made sure that we rolled up there, and we were like trying to like this is what the youngsters do. Trying to like be all tough and trying to like come on, let's go. If you wanna get at it, we can graft. But at the same time, now I grow up and you do the things that you do in life when you're in this industry, and then you're like, yeah, man, like you should know how lucky you are that I'm just not interested. I've done that so much that I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Sure. No,
I
I
don't know.
understand it,
That's
man.
just
I
how
get
I
it. But
see it.
I mean, it goes to like, to me, there's certain principles that you take a stance on, right? Like as a Christian, for example, I have one unforgivable sin, right? I don't get to deny God. And so when I see people that are like, and that means something to me, right? That means that if
Yep.
somebody's standing there saying that I am going to denounce Jesus Christ or anything of that nature, or else I'm going to have my head cut off, or somebody's going to put a bullet in my head. Well, that means I'm getting my head cut off, or I'm taking a bullet in the head. And so what I find
Yep.
absolutely shocking is that the Jewish community actually feels the need to do that to keep peace. And I think that is truthfully one of the biggest problems that we have in this nation. And I think it's one of the biggest problems with why things have persisted the way that they have, is because we've all had this peace mentality. We want to keep peace, which goes back to this entire episode talking about how DEI got as out of control as it did, to where we just wanted to keep the peace. This isn't worth it to sort of fight over it. You want to be a man and call yourself a woman, go for it. We're not going to raise hell over it. We're not going to, do anything We're just going to do you, boo-boo, right? But then they end up taking it to the next level and the next level and the next level. So when it's at the point where your religious freedoms, you can't even feel the right to express them, it's a problem. And I'll say that for Muslims as well. I hate that in this country after 9/11. Some of you guys might not know this if you're too young listening. Some of you are more than old enough to remember this. After 9/11, I remember people, and it was like news stories back then. Nobody had cell phones. Twitter wasn't a thing. Facebook, I don't even think it came out yet, right? Like that wasn't a thing.
No.
But I remember story after story after story of like store owners, and some of them were even Muslim. Some of them were like Sikhs. Some of them were Indian, like actual Indians from the country of India. But Americans are so dumb.
Yeah, I remember all that.
They were targeting them. They were going in, and it was like hate crime after hate crime after hate crime following 9/11. And we crushed it. We did put a stop to it. But now, 20 plus years later, that's the norm to where people have to remove their religious rights. It's garbage, and I don't agree with it, and it offends me. Like at like a base level. To me, that is like, I'm not saying that, you know, these people are making the wrong decisions when they do it. It's their call. But to me, that would be almost like denying God. It almost makes me want to be Jewish and convert just to make that stance that it's no longer okay. You don't get to do that.
Yeah, even though they are, they shouldn't have to.
Correct.
And I'm trying to teach my son to be blind to everything except for a person's character, how they treat you.
Bingo.
Okay, it just shouldn't matter what your religion is, what color your skin is, whether you want to be a man, woman. None of that should matter. The only thing that should matter is that person's character.
Correct. I have told the story on the podcast before, once or twice, from when I was a cop and there was a dude that was high as a kite running around a low-income apartment complex. High as a kite. And people were afraid that he was, like, the call that came in was he was approaching children. They thought he was a child predator. They didn't know. So I raced in there. And when I pull in, I see somebody matching the description, African-American dude, walking up a flight of stairs, up to another apartment, up to some random apartment, and bangs on the door as I'm walking up the stairs. The lady opens the door and sees me standing there. So I'm a white cop, low-income place. I got a black dude. He knocks on the door of an apartment. Black woman opens it. She looks at me and she's like, I don't know this man. And he's trying to pretend like he does. I'm like, come on, sir, come with me. You know, come on down here. And I can see he's got like a little bit of foam coming out of the corner of his mouth, which, if you know, is a sign of opiate use, right? A high amount of opioid use. I tried to tell the guy. I did. I checked him for warrants. He didn't have any. He was clean. I tried telling the guy, I just want to get him a ride back home. I don't want to drop you off in the hospital because they're just going to ride this out. And then they're going to release you back onto the street, and you're going to have a hefty bill that's going to get attached to it if the state doesn't cover it, right? I was like, if you have a responsible adult at home is the key. A responsible adult at home, I'm going to give you a ride home. I don't know how you got here. Do you know where you're at? And I offered to give him a ride home. He didn't want to get in the vehicle. He didn't trust me. And I was like, sir, you can get in the vehicle. I will take you home. It'll be okay. And he's like, no, man, you're going to kill me. You're going to arrest me. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And I ended up having to tell him, I'm not going to do that. And he goes, well, do you love me? I was like, I love everybody. It might not seem that way, but I strive to love everyone. And he goes, well, will you give me a hug? I was like, of course I will. So I give him a hug. Guess what? The guy got in my car. I didn't even bother putting him in cuffs because I don't need to. And I went to go drop him off. And it was like a 5-minute ride to his house. And when I went to go drop him off, he gets out and he's like got tears in his eyes. And he gives me a massive hug. His daughter was at home. His daughter's an adult, by the way. He gives me a massive hug. And we stand there for like 5 or 10 minutes having a conversation. And he tells me about growing up in frickin' East LA back in the frickin' day. He was like an OG frickin' Crip. And that crap would have never happened back then. And to see things change like that, to see that change in our society, that's the positive change that needs to happen, right? But it's this hate that has just been perpetuated and injected by the left. You know, white cops are horrible human beings and all this other crap. By the way, this was when all the BLM riots and all of that crap was going on. After George Floyd, all that race baiting crap was going out. That's when that happened. I am sick and tired of this crap in this country. We are less divided than people want us to be. And they don't realize it because we stick to it left and right. Nobody should have to hide being a Jew. Nobody should have to hide being a Christian or Muslim. Nobody. Or Mormon, for that matter. I don't care what it is. That's your right. Take it and love it appropriately. Just don't be violent. Don't use it as an excuse for violence. Right? If you do that, I don't care.
Agreed.
I'm so sick of this society today, man. And that's what all of this stuff. What do you guys think about the executive orders for the military? Like, honestly,
How I see them.
Huh? Ending DEI, ending diversity, equity, inclusion, and getting rid of anybody that should have been cleared, like shouldn't have been cleared by MEPS in the first place.
Off topic, Trump's latest rant on Truth Social. The United States military just entered the great state of California and under emergency powers turned on the water flowing abundantly from the Pacific Northwest and beyond. The days of putting a fake environmental argument over the people are over. Enjoy the water, California.
Wow.
But going back to your executive order, I agree with those 100% wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And I think it's going to have a positive impact on the military. I think it's going to take time, but I think it's going to have a positive impact. What about hunting down the general officers?
I'm fine with that. No problems with that theory. Bad leadership gets people killed. Also makes good soldiers get out.
So to me, the question is, how do they plan on doing that? And I think the way that they're planning on doing that is like, as an officer, as an enlisted, as a soldier, if you're given an unlawful order, you don't have to follow it. And what they pointed out, and this is how I think it's going to get implemented, right? What they pointed out on the fact sheet, if I was able to transfer it over, I tried to get my screen up for you guys, but I couldn't. What they pointed out on the fact sheet, or maybe it was in the executive order, the DOD policy that they quoted in the DOD policy for like the law of how they're going to do it. You know, basically that talking about if, whatever, if you're drained on the force, if you require a buttload of medical attention, if you're not going to be around, you know, if you're like, you have no business being in the military, you're not allowed in. And that's like the one that they quoted and used to like get into it. And I think that that is what they're going to use. And they're going to say that those orders you were given were unlawful and you should have stood up for them and you didn't. That's what I think they're going to do to force these people out. So either you're going to take a hit under the UCMJ for following unlawful orders and enforcing unlawful orders, which degraded the military force, or you can humbly accept your retirement, or you can ETS and go home. I think that's what they're going to do.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
They're gonna what? They're gonna do. They're gonna give them an order that they know that they won't do. So then they can say that you refuse the order.
That's what I'm saying, is that the DOD directives and policies were already in place that shouldn't have happened. And so any of those executive orders, any of those marching orders that got passed down from superiors, they shouldn't have followed them. And if they enforced an unlawful order, then they should be held accountable for it. And I think that's what they're going to do. That's what I would do.
They're going to go back and see what unlawful orders were made, and then they're going to see who was that enforced them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So if you're going to follow unlawful orders, then you're going to enforce lawful orders, and you're going to degrade the military. You have no business being inside of it. Now, listen to what I just said. Those are unlawful orders because of the DOD policies and directives, right? They didn't change them. They were in existence the entire time. If they wanted to change that shit, they should have, but they didn't. So unlawful orders, you have no business following or enforcing, period. And you degraded the military. Now, if I took that and I put it in any other category, minus transgenders, DEI, whatever, everybody would nod and agree, right? But when I put that cover on it, all of a sudden it's an issue. It's blind. The law is colorblind. It's supposed to be anyways, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's messed up. I'm just sitting back and just watching all this unfold in real time, and it's like there's gonna be a really interesting couple of years coming up.
Yeah.
Um, oh, by the way, I know it's early for you guys, but in a statement today, or I think it was a clip out of a statement from the other day, Zelensky said that these words, let's go word for word, quote, Zelensky said in an interview, um, President Trump has a certain tactic for ending the war, and I like it.
So it got leaked yesterday, and then it got leaked yesterday, and I'm gonna go to Mama Heartless because we don't get a lot of females that like to come up and speak. So I really look forward to this. Plus, she's a mod. So Trump's plan allegedly got leaked yesterday. Did you hear about this, Texas?
I did, and it's very unverified, and I
Right.
tried asking some of my sources, and everybody said, like, there's zero verification for it yet.
That's what
So,
I said when I brought it up. I was like, be careful because the New York Times is reporting this. They're not the most reliable when it comes to anonymous sources and everything else, but they're saying that here in a week or so, Trump's going to have a phone call with Putin, and then they're going to sit down, and then they're going to, eventually work their way in. So by Easter, there's a peace deal. Not a ceasefire, but a peace deal. That's what they're saying by Easter.
I know that you don't usually do the things that Rob does when it comes to Ukraine and looks at that guy that steams on the Russian propaganda TV.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a clip going around of him talking about the Trump deals and the Trump ultimatum, and he's talking about, like, who does Trump think we are? We don't negotiate. We have our goals. We follow our lead. Like, he was going off about it. Trump thinks that we will bomb Trump directly. Like, he was raging the other day, and there was a guy on there that was actually, it was a guest, a host, and the guest was like trying to say no, though, but we might have our goals and our stuff, but we still should sit at a negotiating table and put these goals and
Right.
and demands on the table. And he's like, we don't go to no table until our demands are met, and the Kiev regime is no longer existing and whatnot. So that was also quite interesting. But I heard about this whole Easter plan. I heard about how the layout is. I've also I don't know if you saw this document going around of Ukraine, and it utilizes the front line, and it shows the buffer zone, and it shows which European countries are going to deploy their peacekeeping QRF forces to what area, and all of that. And this is like supposedly a document out of Trump's plan, and like there's like
Yeah. Mama Bear.
from being in Ukraine,
Or I'm sorry, Mama
my
Heartless.
people are saying that. Yeah, go ahead, Hart.
Texas,
It's
you
okay.
could ramble. I'm sorry.
Either way.
Yeah, it's okay.
I just got off work from milking cows since 2:30 this morning, so
Oh,
my
lovely.
earbuds died. It was a good thing Texas rambled. Just, I just wanted to just touch on two things. Number one, I saw you respond in the chat about the whole thing. I live close to Mansfield, Ohio. It is very, very bad there over drugs and stuff.
Mhm.
And my cousin got caught up in one of them. First time he had ever smoked marijuana. Had a little bit on him. I don't know the specifics or anything. All I know is it took his parents almost $9,000 to get him out of jail and everything for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's bad here, and it is what it is. I mean, I wish more people would be. It was his first offense. It literally was the first time he had ever smoked it before, and it just, he learned his lesson. Don't get me wrong, but it's how do you trust cops when they do stuff like that?
So they're just like everybody else.
How do you?
I mean, and this is how I throw it out. They're just like everybody else, number one. Two, I'd have to see how he was acting and what was going on. Because I'll tell you, I've personally seen cops take meth off people, take heroin off people, and throw it in the trash because it's not worth dealing with. even if it is a felony arrest or anything like that. And if it's a small amount, I'm telling you, law enforcement officers know that, how do I want to put this? Law enforcement officers know that it's a drain on the system. That if I was to go out and arrest somebody for, a small amount of marijuana, that it's a drain on the system. If they come from a less than affluent background, the odds of them actually showing up and dealing with the court, paying their costs, paying their fees and everything else, and having a warrant for their arrest is likely going to happen. It's just going to be a bigger drain. Plus, if it's a real drug, they're addicted, it's putting them in jail for 30 days isn't going to solve the problem, nor is it going to fix it. And then they're going to have money issues on top of it. Then they're going to have a felony arrest. They're going to have problems getting jobs. Like, it's an issue, right? And so law enforcement officers are aware of that. Most of the time when they do things like that, and you have cops that go out, and I say most of the time because there's just some cops that are stupid. And I think that, like, discretion is something that not a lot of people talk about, but unfortunately, it's kind of one of those double-edged swords where body cams are a good thing because they help absolve a lot of the BS claims that end up coming out. I love body cams because I know I'm acting within the color of the law and I'm enforcing the law, right? So I don't have a concern for wearing a body cam. And it actually helps you out with notes. You could ask for somebody, you could hit the mark button on your body cam and you could ask for the name and date of birth and they could state it. And then I don't have to write anything down. I can just review the, mark. And take notes that way. But most of the time when cops are doing those things and those laws are there and they enforce something like that, it's because they're looking for something else. The individuals are being uncooperative or there's a bigger deal. So for example, let's say, was it in a motor vehicle stop that this happened? Like, what's the background behind
it? He was in his front yard.
Wow.
He literally was going to his mailbox and a couple of his friends pulled up and they searched their car, which they didn't find anything. And they arrested him and took him to jail.
So there's probably a bigger thing behind it. If it was a couple of his friends that pulled up and they had, like, they were looking for drugs or they were trying to bust him for distro or anything like that, like distribution, or if they were doing something nefarious beforehand and he was there. It's probably some part of something a little bit larger, unfortunately. When you add stuff like that in, I'm like, there it is. But yeah, if he's not involved, he's not involved, and they should have let him go. Like, they should have taken a shit and moved on. But if they were trying to prove that his friends sold him the drugs, let's say, for example,
that could have been a different issue. Yes.
Then they're going to do that because they're busting him for distro, and unfortunately, he's got to fry alongside of them in order to make that charge fit those individuals.
Yeah. The only reason that I brought it up, because the common person, not saying like us, there's a lot of us that understand a lot more than most common people do. But like, say, for my boss lady who's never been around drugs or anything, they don't understand the fact that some of these people actually do deserve a chance and they were just experimenting and they will come off of it.
Yeah.
She's a firm believer in, no, they don't get a second chance. They don't get another try.
Yeah. And it's just,
and there's a lot of people around here. Yeah, there's a lot of people around here that are like that. And like I say, I'm in the middle of nowhere. My neighbors are all Amish. So, and the second thing that I wanted to touch upon was the whole DEI thing. And this coming from a woman, coming from somebody who lives around the Amish and the Mennonite, where the men run the family no matter what. That's just their beliefs. Fine, whatever. The whole DEI thing, I was having a conversation with somebody last night over this. And I said, personally, I don't care about DEI. I said, I am one who is, if you are qualified for the job and, that you agree on the money terms and everything and all of that, then I don't care if you're, I'm going to offend some people, but or the whole alphabet people or a straight person or a man or a woman or whatever. If you're qualified, show up to work, do your job. That is that. I don't care about, how many females we have or how many lesbians we have or anything like that. That's just me personally. I guess maybe that's how I was raised, but I know a lot of people that aren't. They're like, oh, well, you didn't give them a chance because of this or that or the other. And it's like, no, just give me a resume that doesn't state color, religion, anything on it.
Yep.
And just tell me their qualifications. But that's just me personally. I mean, That is what it is. But I got to go finish my chores, and I just wanted to. I just want to speak for once.
No, and I appreciate it. That's why I was like, you're never on this. I've never seen you come up before, so it's great. Like, come in. Like that's open conversations.
I'm usually milking cows when you come on, so
well, at least I can keep you entertained while you're milking cows. How many did you go through this morning?
We just dried off 38, so I only milked 284.
Only 284. Starting at 2 a.m.
Yeah. When at Tuesday when we were negative 27 wind chill, I was milking 311.
America. God bless you.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one. I'll listen in, but I'm gonna go silent now.
Okay. Take care, man.
Be safe.
Thank you.
You too. All right, guys. I just did a time check. We've been doing this for 40 mics. It's time for me to jump off. Texas, you feeling any better?
A bit, yeah. Obviously, I'm on here, but
yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of interesting time the last couple of days. But I'm just sitting back, and the whole DEI and Trump and the new Secretary of Defense and all of the things and moving parts. I think that everybody's just so excited and so worried and so blah 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 that you just need to see what's actually gonna happen. Nobody knows.
Correct.
And like we can all sit here and like guess and like make up our own things in our head of what it means and what it's gonna be and what it's gonna mean. Then I think we just sit back and wait. Stay true to yourselves and keep believing in what you believe in, and that's all. And life will be good. I think people should just focus on being good people.
Exactly. Just be a good human being.
Shooting the bad ones.
I'm with you. Be a good human. All right, guys. I got to take off. I got some other work that I have to attend to. But
all right.
Dude,
cheers. Have a great evening.
Hey, man, I sent you a DM with my info for Iraq, by the way.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. We're gonna get in on all that stuff. I am just now getting, so that you guys are aware, I'm just now getting back into the swing of things, trying to get back to a normal schedule. I feel pretty much like I've exhausted myself. You guys know that I've been dealing with that whole thing. So hopefully you don't have to hear it from me, and the truth is going to come out sometime here in the near future. That's all I can say about that. I found some wild shit. Wild.
Yeah.
So hopefully the truth comes out in the near future. I'll tell you that in Matt's opinion, what you guys heard is not the truth. What the narrative that had been put out so far.
I had a strange feeling.
I'm sorry?
I said I had a strange feeling that was true, that the narrative was not true at all.
There's portions and aspects that are, in Matt's opinion. And we will wait till they finish investigating everything. Investigating everything that has been passed up, and make sure that they're on it and doing everything correct. And I hope that our government is going to be forthcoming about everything. That's my hope, right? That is my hope that they at least look at this, because if you're going to take somebody's name like that and slander it on day 2 going into day 3, it technically, day 0 would be bang, day 1 would be January 2nd, day 2 would be January 3rd. If by January 3rd, you're going to come out with all of these allegations without even completing your investigation, well, we've got issues, right? And it certainly, to me, appears like there's more to the story, and I hope that they are forthcoming with it. And at the end of the day, these are serious incidents that took place, and I think there is potential for other things. And I hope our government is paying attention. That's all I can say. And I want our government is they're going to have the opportunity to investigate everything and come and be forthright about it. Whether or not mainstream media actually covers it is another question. But when I think it's safe, because I don't think it is right now for me to actually have discussions about this, I will. I don't want to start any rumors. I don't want to make anything seem as if, it's something it's not. I have what are known to me as facts. Those facts need to be substantiated with further evidence, which is what the investigation's for, which is why I'm not saying anything, which is why I am just trying to be a good American. And that's that. You know what I mean? Like, I am not trying
good person
to.
in general.
I'm sorry?
Said a good person in general, not only an American, a good person.
Just
like
a
you're
good
trying to
human
be
being.
like you're a good human.
Right.
Yep.
God, family, country.
If people knew. If people only knew.
Right. And it's, again.
All right. I'm going to jump off.
Yeah.
We'll go see some family and go do some things that I do.
Do it, brother man. Do it to it.
Good chatting, good catching up with you guys. It was good being on there. Thanks for the stream, and I'll see you around.
Yeah. Thanks everybody
Later,
for coming
Texas.
on the panel. Thank you, Mama and Bones and freaking C88. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Okay.
Yep. Be
All right, have a
safe
good
and
one.
have a good day.
All right. Take care.